Welcome, future Arcaniacs and Arcaniacs from times past. I've had an amazing opportunity to take a deep dive back into memory lane, living through a fair amount of nostalgia with good old friends and gamers. We've discussed how amazing this campaign has been and how much influence Arcanius and the Living Arcanus campaign has meant to us. And to make a really long story short, I need to replenish my Arcanus books, and I came across this amazing lot that just starts me off really, really happy. So I'm going to do a quick show you, quasi unboxing, show you each title, and then as the weeks and days and months go on, we will do product reviews and let you learn more about each one. And I'm going to start you off with the amazing Codex Arcanus. So the Codex Arcanus, I'm going to tell you, this is what actually drew me in. First adventure I didn't get to play. What I get caught, I loved this Altherian caster and this big giant cannon combined with, this obvious legionnaire or Greek inspired with whatever this is, some crazy looking dude. And of course, that kind of classic Nordic Viking, maybe Celtic warrior. This was just, it's such a dynamic cover. It pulled me in instantly. So I hope it does the same for you because the lore is amazing. Then came Spira Logan. Spira Logan, this is the one. This is where people begin to understand that Arcanus is different. This is not Gary Gygax's D&D. This is something that requires you to be a little more mature in your outlook of what gaming can be. It allows you to begin to think about the moral grays and the ethical dilemmas. And of course, the run-up, Blood Rain and Nishanpur. The next step people take deep into Canceri, Blood Rain and Nishanpur explores the most evil place on the continent. Then, Bloody Sands of Sikaris. Sikaris, however you want to say it. I loved this adventure. This to me is the best plug and play, drop into any campaign. And this is where I introduced so many people to Arcanus, whether running them through the adventure itself, just as a one-off, or using it as the home base for adventures out into the hinterlands. And the next amazing location, the Carnival of Swords, an adventurer's guide to Old Corian. This is where the original capital of the Koreani Empire was. And it has a history and a mythology that, you can feel the depth and I don't want to say angst because it wasn't angst, but there's an intensity and a darkness and a heaviness that future writers were so inspired that they continue to write adventures in Old Corian with its own little mini arc. So speaking of adventures and arcs, Yearville Harvest. This is what we've been talking about for the most part, is the Coriani Civil War. And this is where people got hooked into Living Arcanus. This is a third edition, probably 3.5, and this will be your introduction into Arcanis in 5th edition as well, if you choose. There are 5th edition conversions for the Year of Ill Harvest. I highly recommend people get that opportunity, get out there and play it. And then the following year is the Year of the Fall. Year of the Fall follows through, where now the Koreani Civil War has begun. The differences in loyalties between the rebels who followed General Meneses and the loyalists who follow Alcestis, and it leads up through an entire year of battle interactives and opportunities to really change the face of Arcanis. Legacy of Damnation. Now, I've been talking about how awesome Darkkin are as compared to Tieflings. I'm a big fan of the Darkkin of Arcanis. I feel they were way more customizable. They felt like there was both demonic and devil backgrounds, that you weren't tied to this standard concept that has been put forward by some other corporation to tell you how your imagination should work. Look at this cover. These are all variations on Darkkin. Amazing. Just amazing. And then, of course, the Theocracy of Canseri. More of these amazing place books. So this is, notice, mature audiences only. So Paradigm is very sensitive to not being offensive, but they're still going to tell their story. And that story has some mature themes. This is where you're going to find them. I'm going to tell you, when they say a picture speaks 1,000 words, this tells you more about Canseri than you'll ever want to know. So I would consider this one of those books where, you know, we're really trying to understand and conform to the OGL for 3.5, or the SRD as it was called then. And I'm going to tell you, magic item creation was a drag, but what I enjoyed coming out of Forged in Magic was it made me feel like I had Arcanis items. It filled in the gap of some generic +1 flame tongue. No, instead there's swords out there like Flesh Ripper. Yeah. Now, the first of the side adventures, shall we say, the mini campaigns that sprung up, the City of Secrets, an adventurer's guide to Nishanpur. This is where you got your opportunity to spend time in one of the most despicable evil places on the continent of Onara, and you better follow the rules. Now, another amazing, I mean, truly, truly amazing place. This is setting. This is, now you can grab Sethragor and the Coils of the Serpent Empire, and you can stick it into your homebrew anywhere you want, and you're going to be really happy. This is incredibly well put together. My recollection, the author is actually a herpetologist, but don't hold me to that. And either way, the person loved reptiles and snakes, and it's absolutely obvious in the detail and the care and this kind of understanding of how these different types of reptile species interact. Really an amazing job. I highly recommend this to anybody, whether you want to play Arcanis or not. Now, the Western lands. The Western lands we hardly discussed at all, but this is where you can learn about the Western lands. In the Shadow of the Devil, this takes you to the strange and mysterious jungles of the Western lands where the Kyo and the Valsunga are the rulers, and the Undir are really this kind of lower class who's been relegated mostly to working class and untouchable type of uh, careers. And this combination just, it makes this place a hotbed of all kinds of intrigue and tension. And again, highly recommend In the Shadow of the Devil. Now, of course, if you're running a Living Arcanis campaign, you're going to have to start putting out your own magical classes and prestige classes and spells and magic items, etc. And that's what you find here in the Magic of Arcanis. Because they had to have an entire new book just to do psionics Unbound. This right here, oh my goodness. There's a voiceless one. There is an agent of the silence. And just so you can find your way through and choose your own adventures, become a hero and part of the legacy of Arcanis, of course, they had their own player's guide. All of this will get you through 3.5, but I'm going to tell you, as a collector, as someone who loves to just collect games and read, in particular, the Arcanis lore, every one of these books is chock full of little secrets, little hints, little bits and pieces that can help unsolve, oh boy, can help solve, unveil all of the mysteries and all the answers that we're constantly asking ourselves, the whats, whys, hows. So join us with Living Arcanis. I look forward to going through each of these books one at a time in more detail. Take care.